The meeting of the Revere Zoning Board of Appeals will now come to order. Roll call.
Mr. Bacilli? Mr. Corrin? Mr. D'Angelo? Mr. Mazzoni? Mr. Tucker?
Present.
And Mr. Colometto is absent. The first application before the board is application A1311. This is the application of Mr. Alawi of 88 Garfield Avenue, Revere, requesting front, side, and rear yard setback variances to enable the appellant to construct a one-story enclosed addition in accordance with the appellant's plan in the front and rear yards on Lot 1, Garfield Avenue, and Blake Street at 88 Garfield Avenue, Revere. This matter has been remanded to the Zoning Board of Appeals from the Planning Board for consideration in less than 2 years after denial due to the fact that the Planning Board has determined that substantial change has occurred between the original plan and this application.
Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Charles Pastisi. Hold it. No, all set? Okay. Charles Pastisi. P-U-S-T-I-Z-Z-I, the structural engineer.
Explain the changes.
Yep. All right, if you recall, the first time around was, everyone's got a copy of this? If you look at that plan, the plan to the left, which is telling you the demolition, all that stuff you see in that light orange color is existing. You can see that up on the photograph on the right elevation. What they did is they tried to enclose the existing porch that was there and made a bloody mess of it. So at the first time around, we were looking at trying to save as much money as possible, so all we did was try and fix what was there, even though it was illegal. In terms of the construction, the style of construction, it was just no foundation underneath it, nothing. We had to put all that stuff back. So it got denied, probably rightly so, because what should have been done is what we are showing on the plan to your right on that drawing, which is a shaded area on the left of the house, and that is the proposed addition that we're looking at now. And I think you can see that we've opened up the area of the land there quite a bit. We're going to be removing everything you see on that orange. That's all coming out, and this will be all brand new construction conforming to state code. So that's what we're looking for now. We have to fix what's there because it's structurally deficient. And my own charge with the state of Massachusetts is life safety. That has to be fixed one way or the other. And we're looking for the appeal here to put this addition up and just remove all that junk that's there, just get rid of it altogether and put up something that will then be architecturally blended right in with the rest of the house. It's only 1 story high. And of course for the neighborhood, it's going to look a hell of a lot different than what's there now, a lot better. Any questions?
We have to continue on with the hearing. Are there any other proponents? Anyone else in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Ira Novoselsky. I'm the Ward 2 counselor. I reside at 53 D. Hone Street off Shirley Ave. Just so you know, I've been working with the architect and the owner on this ever since they got denied, because I was actually one of the complainers way back when they had that abortion that was built, and unfortunately, the owner got waylaid by a illegal contractor, and unfortunately he fell into his bad graces. And I did force the issue with support from the neighborhood, and they saw everything that was going on, and we knew there was no building permit, so we put a stop to it right away. And at that point, I approached the owner, and we talked about it. He said he wanted to do something. I said, you're going to have to get yourself a structural engineer. You're going to have to work on some plans to revise this so everything is in code, because the original construction didn't even have good columns, support columns underneath. There was nothing there. There was no sonotubes, nothing. They just built it from the old porch up, and that's what that gypsy contractor did to them. So, I've worked with him over the last 11 months, 12 months, and we came to this, and I told him what he had to go through as far as through the site plan review again, which he did. He went through site plan review. I told him he had to go in front of the planning board to go for a change in renovation and description of the work. And they did acknowledge there was a substantial change, which, I believe there is. They're moving it back from the front of the house, opening up the existing porch in the front. They're taking down the existing enclosure in the back. If you look on the left, around in the orange area, there's taking that down, and they're extending it down into that area and making it a second egress, which they didn't have at the beginning. So, I think with this change, I think it'll be better for the neighborhood. Right now, it's definitely an eyesore. If you took it down, you'd still see an eyesore in the outside of the building anyway. So, yeah, I think they're going through the right procedure at this point. They got their architect. They'll get a legal contractor that'll pull permits. They'll do whatever they have to do. They do operate a daycare center in there. And that's one of the reasons they wanted to extend this area inside the house. And they will have to go through fire codes and building codes and everything that's necessary. And I think the neighbors feel better that the construction will be done properly and the code if you approve this. So, like I said, I've been working with them for a long time. I endorse this, and I didn't endorse it before, but I do now because we've worked together on it. And I think they have the right guy working on it, and I think at this point they'll do the right thing. So I ask that you approve this plan at this particular time. Thank you very much.
Are there any other proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak?
I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Did you enclose any part of the porch?
There'll be nothing enclosed now.
No, did you close any part of the porch?
Right now, part of the porch has been enclosed.
All right. And did you get a building permit to do that?
No, the contractor never submitted a permit, never submitted drawings, never did anything. He took his money and ran.
All right.
In fact, if you look at the photograph on the right elevation, you can see the tieback that's over a portion that he enclosed. And in the middle of construction, he was just stopped because the building department was number one. No permit for this one. Yeah, it's really, these guys should not be operating in the state, but they're like.
Okay, I have a few questions concerning this. The plan that the architect or engineering firm submitted does not have dimensional controls on it, for one, so we couldn't accept that. So there'd have to be a new plan submitted if this was approved.
I can have that, just have that reprinted.
Yep. Looking at this from the rear of the property, where the two parking spaces are, the existing structure, you have 9 feet 8 inches away from Blake Street, or from the fence. if you look at the plan.
You're looking at,
The side yard going from the fence to the existing porch, for lack of a better term.
oh, it's 9.8 feet?
Yep.
The existing, yes.
Alrighty.
That's a one-story, they hadn't touched that. That's a one-story, I don't know when it was added on, but it was just sort of like tacked on there. Yeah, and we're at 9.9 feet, 9.01 feet with the new addition in there. There's only like, what, maybe 8 inches of change between the two.
And the second mean of egress will be in the back of it with the
That's
new
correct.
wood staircase?
That new wood egress stair, you can see it's there.
But the existing one had a second mean of egress on the side.
Well, it's,
Why would they say there wasn't a second means of egress?
I have an existing set of wood stairs that's out there.
Right.
And by code, the stairs are supposed to be as far apart as possible in the house, so that when you're out going out the front, the second means of egress is right out the back. So that's the safest way that you can do it.
Okay, because the stairs that they were putting in, we don't even have dimensions on that from where they'll be from the fence, how far they'd be away from the fence.
You would like to see dimensions on the egress stair, the new one?
They all have to be put on the plan. That's the way it should have been submitted.
Well, this is showing what's proposed on the final set of drawings that we will submit to the building department.
No, you submit the dimensions
you
to
want
us or you don't get
dimensions.
approved. That's part of the application process.
Has to be a minimum of 3 feet, it probably end up being 4 feet wide to allow for the handrails, the guardrails, and so forth.
How far away from Blake Street, though? The bottom of the step to the fence? What would be the dimensions from the bottom of the step to the fence?
From the stair,
Right.
the last stair tread going
Right.
down? Okay,
That would be over 3 feet, you're saying?
oh, it'll be more than that. Probably closer to 4 feet maybe.
Okay. And what will this room be used for?
I think the intention is because of there's a front room in the house, and this is just going to extend the front room over. We were talking about taking the exterior wall off and putting a beam there, and just extend the front room over. Was it the living room?
There'd be no plumbing or anything, no toiletry,
There would
nothing? It's
be-
all going to be an open
There
room?
would be, if it has any plumbing, if they wanted to extend part of the heating system out there, there would be that. There would be some electrical, obviously.
Yeah, even the parking spaces aren't depicted for size, and they have to be listed on the plan, at least 9 by 18 each space. They're not even, there's no dimensions for the parking.
All right, you want those? I mean, I can give you that.
It's not, it's part of the package when they get this, to submitting it, it tells them they have to have all dimensional controls on the plans. I mean, that whoever filled out the application, it's very clear in the application what you have to present to us.
I can put anything you want on there. I mean, I'm looking at, these are standard parking spaces, which are what, 9 by 18.
Okay.
Assuming 9 by 18, what happens if they come in there 8 feet by 16? We must have to stipulate that they have to meet the required regulations and go subject to submission of the plan.
What's the wish of the members to,
Move it to the next meeting.
okay. A motion that we table this until we have the proper documentation and plans showing all dimensional controls, along with the size of parking spaces, any existing conditions that are currently there versus what's being proposed. For example, on the left, it doesn't show asphalt. On the right, it's showing asphalt paving. Is that what they're going to do, or is that already existing? I mean, that's the things that
It's a
are,
guessing game between me
Yeah.
and departments. I mean, this was to show a proposal of what we're looking at, and we spent the least amount of money on these things because they can be denied. I mean, I was on a project at one time where they actually went through a full design, presented it to the zoning board of appeals, after spending $30,000 worth of consulting fees, they got denied.
and that's unfortunate, but do you have to still meet
But this is
the
simple enough. To me, on the CAD system, to add dimensions is seconds. So I can add all the dimensions on the existing stuff. I can show the parking area to be the same as on the other drawing, or the other plan.
But it would still have to show the dimensions of the parking area.
Yep.
How far away from the two-story deck, for example, if you look at the plan on the right, if I'm looking at this and this is exact dimensional control, the parking space is on top of the porch.
I can show all of that.
So we want to make sure that it's all legal, that the dimensions are correct.
Everything is to scale, exactly to scale.
Well, if you're to scale, then the second-story deck above, the parking space goes into that. And there's one below it, so there's stanchions there to hold things up, yeah.
We can add anything you like. Dimensions of the easiest thing on the CAD system, just click them on and they pop up.
So there's a motion on the floor to continue this matter until the next meeting, October 23rd. At that time, they will present the proper plans with all dimensional controls. Roll call.
Question comes on continuing this matter to October 23rd at 4 p.m. To enable the appellant to provide the Zoning Board of Appeals with further information. Mr. Bacilli?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Corrin?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Mazzoni?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes. Is continued until October 23rd at 4 p.m.
So be prior to that date, you'll submit new plans so that we can get copies of them and...
Yeah, I want to know how permanent
You
that
don't
shed
want
was.
this, I just want it on the.
Should ask. I'm gonna. They're gonna come back now, so it don't matter.
It has to be
You want it on this,
on the recording document. That's the recording document, yes.
I'll send both. This is the drawing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
23rd? Okay.
No further business, we'll adjourn the meeting.